Okay. Hey guys, welcome to the latest installment of On Tyranny, the series that myself, Kurt Orzek, longtime music journalist, has been doing for my website called The Bad Penny and interviewing artists about the impact of authoritarian America on musicians. So originally started out just as a refresher for those of you who are new to the series. I started out by interviewing bands across the world who are living under authoritarian governments, just in anticipation of what could potentially happen in the United States and how they cope, with living and doing their art under a country led by authoritarian rule. And sure enough, that's where we find ourselves now. So the focus is now shifted to talking with bands in the United States. And I can't think of a better band to have with us today than Spiritiste and Spiritiste. Sorry. And we have two members from the band. Terrific hardcore group out of Baton Rouge. We've got Yann and Jade, and they got a just probably one of the best hardcore records I've heard in the last 5 years. Excommunication Hymns coming out in Halloween on Protagonist Records and Tor Johnson Records, and it couldn't be more apropos for the moment we're in, and it's really a pleasure to have you participate in this series. So thanks so much, guys, for making the time and taking part in this.
Thank you for the kind words. That's
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Are you pretty proud of the record, I imagine?
yeah. I mean, I'm so proud of like this is I don't know. To me, it's the best thing I've done musically ever, and I'm like also so proud of Jade and like all the band members, and just it's been really special putting this together.
Yeah. Can you tell
Yeah,
me a bit about it before? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm so proud of my boys and how much work they put into this and uh roping me into being in this band. So
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, it sounds like it was this more of a endeavor, I suppose, like a longer term or a more a project that required more time and effort than other records, would you say, or
yeah, I think it took us over a year, right? To get everything recorded and mixed and mastered. And I don't think any of us really, most of the recording, I think all of us have pretty much done up to this point had just kind of been like dingy DIY recordings and little rundown basement studios. Um, I think this was like, I don't think we were expecting how professional this recording process was going to go and how professional it was going to feel. Yeah.
sweet, sweet. How did that come about? The professional aspect of it.
Well,
Um, so Matt Bear, who recorded and produced the record, was a friend of our drummers and somebody I had met through the drummer Billy, and just at parties, and Billy and I had conversations with him about his recording process in the past. He's worked with all different kinds of artists across various genres, and so when we were like looking to record, we thought, let's give this a shot, and try and record with him. Just through a lot of conversations, it seemed like he really knew what he was doing, and he'd sent some samples of stuff he'd done. And we're just really impressed. And I think that, we weren't sure going into it what it was going to be, but I think, we all like are really appreciative of what Matt did for us on the record.
Yeah. Is that Billy Bats? Is that right? Or
Billy Thompson.
Billy Thompson. Okay, cool. Awesome. Is he in Baton Rouge as well?
yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Um, so just to kick things off, first and foremost, I wanted to ask you guys, like, did you go into the creation, the writing, and the recording of this record as with the intention of responding to what's going on in this country? I mean, when did you start writing it also?
I'll answer your first question on with the intention. I know for me, um, when I was writing lyrics for the album, it like it, I couldn't really write about anything else. Like
Mm.
being trans in Louisiana, like my life is politicized. And my very existence is political, which means everything I do uh, is political. Just merely existing is resistance. So everything I do is resistance. So there was no way I would have been able to write and it not be a direct response to that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Jade, how do you respond to fellow musicians who say like, oh, we don't do politics, or like we stay away from politics? Like, I can't imagine not being infuriated in your position, you
I,
know.
I think it's a absolute privilege of your socioeconomic class and your societal, like where you fit within that, with race and gender and sexuality, uh, to find yourself in a position in those uh, dynamics, in those classifications, to not have to worry about it. Like that's an immense privilege. And like it is really infuriating, but at the same time, like, fuck, they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't know. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's like asking, uh, it's like asking the roach to understand my experience. It won't. It's a roach. It has no idea what my life is like.
Yeah.
Um, so it is infuriating, but not that I'm okay with it, but it's like I'm not going to sit here and get into arguments with people about it.
Do you think eventually, the way things are headed, in the way that authoritarianism, sort of manifests itself over time, that it'll wind up impacting everybody, and people will come around to understanding that it's inescapable?
Yeah, I mean, it's that whole I'm gonna absolutely butcher the quote, but the ideology is the same of like, um, first they came for the immigrants, and then they came for the queer people, and then they came for the women, and then they came for, you know what I mean? Like, it eventually, what they do to me, they will uh they'll do to anybody. I think there's a line in one of our tracks where it says, if they come for me, they will come for you.
Yeah. Yeah. This question for both of you guys. Did you feel like, this was an opportunity to like rise to the occasion, like, and really, um, create a record that embodies what you wanted this band to be?
I'm gonna let Yann talk that one.
Well, I think so I don't think even as a band we haven't had like a huge discussion about this, but like the impetus for the band and the idea of the band and the name,
Yeah.
Spiritiste, is like, to me it was it's a nod to historical movements of spiritualism and spiritism that fought against authoritarian and that fought against imperialism. And so like like Francisco Madero, who started the Mexican Revolution, who was a spiritist, and he talked to spirits, and that influenced him to overthrow a dictatorship. Like Augusto Cesar Sandino, who fought against the U.S. Marines in Nicaragua, was a spiritist. Um, there were like in the 1850s and 60s and 70s, and the women's suffrage movement and abolitionists, they were influenced by spiritualism, fighting against slavery, fighting against women's oppression, and so that like the idea of the band was to be inspired by that. And I think when meeting Jade, and like I think Jade uh, has her own voice and her own story, and I think is responding to right various forms of oppression, and so I think has taken that vision in a different way, but I think is all connected.
Is Catholic liberation theology part of it too? Would you include that or no?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm familiar with liberation theology, but it's not I think like spiritism as practiced was like repressed by the Catholic Church.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Um, Jade, did you want to speak any more to that subject or?
Sorry, I had to move to my car. I was being eaten up by mosquitoes. It was not going well.
You definitely
Uh,
are in Baton Rouge. It's proven.
yeah. Uh, yeah, when I joined the band, they would talk to me about this same concept, and I don't know if it's just like a point of what do we how do we want to call this, of just like not feeling like I really did what they wanted to do. I had we had this idea of like where our live shows would be like I was channeling spirits of to bring about revolution and stuff. And the more I wrote, the more I realized that like I can only say fuck the government so many different ways. You know, that I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to start writing about more personal stuff and more like introspective stuff. And when I started writing about that kind of stuff, I I didn't feel like I could go on stage and be anybody but myself. So the way I interpreted the conversation at the very beginning of everything, I feel we sidestepped that, and I think for the better, actually. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's just take a step back for a second. Like, what's the community like in Baton Rouge, the hardcore scene? And do you have a lot of camaraderie with fellow bands of your ilk, or what sort of a support system and fan base community do you have down there?
It's in flux. It ebbs and flows of like um how it grows and connects. We've got, like a couple of different scenes in Baton Rouge. We've got like the heavy metal scene, which has almost nothing to do with the hardcore scene. They don't have hardcore ethics, so like there's a band in town with a fucking cop as the vocalist, you know. Um,
Really?
yeah, for real. And But then there's hardcore bands. There's like some indie emo bands, like Twinklier Riffs and stuff, and like all of those kind of like, because we're such a small, Baton Rouge is not big by any means. Um, we end up on mixed bills of like where it's you wouldn't expect these three bands or these four bands to be playing a show together, but it's kind of all, you know. Um, Jan, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I got like revving motorcycles outside my window. Okay. Uh, yeah, Baton Rouge is fun. I'm an outsider. So I moved to Baton Rouge 10 years ago. I grew up like in the like hardcore and punk scenes in like the Chicago suburbs and then like Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then I moved here. And so I it is interesting. I think there's like what I've been really impressed is like the amount of talent in Baton Rouge and then also, New Orleans, and Lafayette. Like it's kind of like all these bands like play different cities with each other and there's just like so much talent here. But I do think there's a like we do kind of stick out a little bit because I think there's generally a sense among many bands of like we don't do politics or we don't talk about that, and so I think that's um I don't know, I haven't had like conversations with people if we are like, we haven't had fights or anything like that. So I don't know if there are people turned off by what we say and what we represent. So but it's there are, I think we're finding community. Like there's a lot of great bands here, and I think the more we play out, the more hopefully we're contributing to something positive.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you faced any pushback, opposition, threats, anything like that? Not getting booked for shows, or any sort of like threats or anything like that, or
Not yet. Not yet. I think I don't think we would, to be honest with you. I think everybody's too pussy to do something like that, you know?
It's good. That's affirming to hear. It's a relief to hear that. Yeah.
There's been, I think there's maybe, there's bands we probably wouldn't play with. Like there's, I think there's some like places we wouldn't play. I think trying to avoid some of that
Yeah,
stuff.
but that's like, but then we make that decision, not to play that venue or not to play. Like, I'm not going to play with that band that has a cop vocalist. You know what I mean? That's not happening. So it's really us that like have our hardcore ethics and stick to our hardcore ethics. And, whereas a lot of the other bands, there are bands with people that I know in the band that have played with that specific cop band. You know what I mean? I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, they're like, well, we got to play shows. So I'm like, you don't got to play that one.
Is your fan base pretty devoted?
I don't know. I think the devoted ones are just my friends, like, that keep coming out to shows because they like me and they support me, or I've seen a few familiar faces that like I don't actually know who they are at shows. I've seen some social media posts by people that like seem really excited about us, which is really cool. Like the same kind of people that'll like repost our posts, or like, you know what I mean, like kind of just share what we're doing, and I think that's pretty cool. I've been recognized a handful of times, like out in public, specifically for this band, which is pretty cool. So, like, I would say, like, mildly, we have like a small devoted fan base.
Yeah, I asked that because I'm in Boise, Idaho, and it's a very red state, but Boise's a fairly, not, I hate using this terminology, but it's a pretty blue city, and the people who do come out to hardcore shows are pretty legit, and not just doing it for the fashion aspect of it. They're true believers, like really diehards.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you feel like bands maybe that are peers of yours or that you've played with aren't getting in terms of like what's going on? And let me expand on that by saying, like, there's a real possibility that this whole censorship thing, whether it be on social media, we saw what happened with responses to a certain individual's murder recently. I won't say his name, but are you finding that a lot of your peers are seeing the potential of censorship, or venues being targeted, and bands being maybe not booked, or are you finding that a lot of your peers are aware of the gravity of the situation that's going on right now?
Yeah, I think when I think of the word peers, and like I guess maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, but like
Mm.
I don't consider my peers to be people that don't get it,
Mm.
you know? Um, so there's a good handful of bands in New Orleans that I'm personally like really good friends with some of their members, and just yeah, they get it. They get it. They're we're on the same boat. We're doing the same shit, you know. Like that's why I like their band so much. That's why I'm friends with them, you know. Um, and in New Orleans more so than Baton Rouge. Like New Orleans, like so many bands are like half or more trans women. You know what I mean? So I mean it's New Orleans, uh, so yeah, they get it. They get it for sure. It's more of your like it depends when you start looking through genres and like when it's like you're looking at bands that have that kind of like blues rock. We play at the local dive bar, kind of. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh, Shit, where yeah, they don't get it, and that's why they play the local dive bar. You know?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, and Jade disagree if you want, but I feel like there is this like a, from like uh my perspective, like there are like so-called hardcore bands here that, but it's more just like I feel like it's a scene where people just want to go and mosh. Like it's basically metal adjacent, and I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
hear,
yeah,
it's to me, I wonder, like I just feel like they don't get it. Like I don't know if it's like right wing moshy hardcore. Like I just don't know. I just don't know where these people stand because they never say anything of substance, So it's just like going through the motions and the sound, but not the ethic.
yeah, yeah. The aesthetic without the actual belief system,
Mm.
without the actual spine.
Right. Right. So, when you went into the making of this album, were you extra were you more emboldened to in motivated to express your identity and who you are as a band because of what's going on, or did you kind of separate yourselves from the larger social climate and just focus on the music itself? I guess makes sense.
You want me to take that? Or you want to take that?
You could take it. I'll piggyback out.
So I mean, in terms of like what's going on, and so in my own perspective, I feel like because we are in Louisiana, like what we're seeing nationally and internationally is just the expansion of what people in Louisiana have lived under for much longer.
uh,
So like it's just kind of a like maybe it's partly a reaction to like bigger issues, but also just like here, like I feel like here there is like, you know, so the sort of strain of authoritarianism that has run through Southern politics forever, like it just.
right. Yeah. Jade, did you want to piggyback on that, or
Oh, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
on that note, where do you see things going?
Uh, with us as a band, I feel we're just gonna keep pushing. I've been pushing to try and do more mutual aid stuff through the band, rather than just being a band with band merch. I've gotten a pretty steady flow of Narcan, uh, pretty much for the foreseeable future. So I'm real adamant to start providing Narcan for free at the merch table.
Rad.
To like avenues to get like contraceptive and stuff, and like DIY HRT pamphlets and information, and like just whatever shit I can find. um, like zines on harm reduction or whatever, like whatever I can find that I feel I can provide to the community for the community. I think that's what I would like to. That's the vision I have with my role in the band going forward, is that really like like talk, like walk and like show other bands that like, hey, you can be more than just a band. Like you can like actually do some stuff, you know. That's where I see it going for us.
That's super cool, Jade. Did you come up with those ideas on your own, or did you hear about other bands doing something similar?
No idea is unique. I've seen other bands do it, and I started doing some mutual aid with some friends in Baton Rouge, and thought, I was like, yeah, I can just move this over. I can just do that. But yeah, no idea. No ideas. Every idea is stolen. So
Love it. Yeah. What about you, Yann? Anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I think like, Jade has I think an amazing vision for the band. And like, you know, I think the rest of the band, like we fully support her. And I think as like but I think what I like about the band is we are like we stick out, I think, in the scene a little bit. And hopefully we just serve as an example, like, and, but also like we want to talk to people. We want to like have conversations, and we're not trying to like be assholes or anything. I think it's just sort of like serve as like a focal point for the community,
Yeah.
provide sources and information if we can.
Yeah. We've got about 6 minutes left. The last question I wanted to ask you is, unless I'm mistaken, your new record deals with one of the themes of your new record is self-harm, and how dealing with mental struggles, and how to treat yourself in a way that's healthy and not self-destructive. And I'm wondering if, because of what's going on, and because, like, especially Jade, what you've been saying, the way that you're able to really, you probably won't, you seem to be too humble to admit this, but I think you're helping a lot of people. I'm wondering if because of the climate that we're in right now, if you feel more motivated to be more involved with self-care, and to be more aware of taking care of yourselves, so that you can be of service to other people. Does that make sense? And
yeah. So man, when we went in to record that album, I was probably at like the lowest low in my life that I have been. Like everything had fallen apart. And I think like some of the songs that lyrically got written in the studio reflect that a lot. And as the year has gone on, and I've been taking care of myself in terms of like going to therapy and getting on the proper medication and getting sober, and just trying to really hone in on like, who am I as a person? Who do I want to be? Who have I been? What don't I want to be? Has really evolved over the last year. And I think those themes of pain and self-harm and like just anguish, I think are important in terms of being vulnerable, in a way where other people will hear it, and maybe I will help somebody, at least insofar as they will relate and will have something to connect to that will hopefully make them feel less alone.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yann, did you have any closing words?
No, on that, I mean, I feel like I don't want to, like, I think that is
Yeah.
Jade's voice is coming through, and Jade, and I think, um, I don't know, it's been an interesting and amazing process. I think not only like getting to know Jade and like, because like, I met Jade a few years ago and invited her to be in the band, and like, but I think we've become really close, and like we've learned a lot. So, uh, and it's amazing that I think I've seen the growth, and doing this record I think has been very like therapeutic for
Yeah.
all of us. Yeah.
I've got to say, I've done, like I said, about almost 50 of these, and this has been a really special one. I really, really appreciate you guys participating in this.
Thank
I,
you.
I not only love the record, but I really admire your authenticity, which is an overused word, but it really applies here. And I thank you for sharing, just your genuine feelings and the impacts, that your music is having. And thank you, really, sincerely. We got 1 minute left. Can you plug away? Your record's coming out on Halloween.
Yeah, record on Halloween, album release show if you happen to be in Baton Rouge, November 14th with Panama Papers, Slow Hole, and Quilt. It's going to be an awesome show. Um, Instagram is Spiritiste _HC. And that music is wherever you get music, but you should be getting it directly from Protagonist or Tor Johnson. And at least Bandcamp.
Very cool. Anything to add, Jan?
No, I mean, just thanks to Protagonist and Tor Johnson for backing us in this. And I think we're really grateful for what they've done. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I have another series called Pet Sounds, so maybe we can have another conversation with your kitty there.
bring in the whole band. We all have our special friends.
Great. Thank you guys so much, really.
And
good luck, and we'll be in touch.
thanks.
Really appreciate it. Thanks.